Well, just under 7¼ hours to go before the final resignation deadline. Finally, let's hear from the man at the centre of it all, President Jacob Zuma, who appears defiant.
No, even the manner in which it is taken, is very strange to me. There is such a rush. In the letter that is written to me, one line towards the end says, engagement is open, that we can still engage, in others still persuade. In my response that I was going to be doing, I am also saying, I am open to further discussions. But they are rushing. I'm told now they're taking a decision that tomorrow in Parliament, there's going to be a vote of no confidence. Nobody has even come to me to say, we are moving if we don't move. What is the rush? I've been asking this question all the time. Is the manner in which it is being, in a sense, implemented, this decision that I have a problem with? I've notified, they're taking their decisions, they're taking me to Parliament, and of course that's how I came in. I came through Parliament. If Parliament says, we don't want to, those are the people who elected me, why should there be a problem? I would be out.
Well, joining us now for more analysis in the studio is James Turp, who's the head of fixed income at ABSA Asset Management, and advocate Brenda Madumise. Advocate and James, thanks so much for your time. I mean, it is Valentine's Day, and today, thank you for getting the memo to dress. Oh. Chris, I don't know what happened. What happened?
Oh, well, one of those things.
I mean, it's Valentine's Day, and the Rand is certainly feeling the love of what is going on politically right now. We've got it at 2.5-year highs. Right. James, your assessment of the politics at play right now in South Africa?
It's really fascinating times, isn't it, to just bear witness to this democracy and the processes and the caution and the political games almost being played in order to get to this outcome. And I guess that's reflected in the currency and the capital markets as well. You're seeing this optimism, but it's very cautious. It's not following through as people expect, because there's always, and has always been over the past few years, a sort of conditional response as well. So I guess the market's not fully buying into a fait accompli, and rather being rather guarded before getting overexcited.
Advocate, I mean, you've been hearing the rundown of the day's events, which has been quite something. You can feel it in my voice. But anyway, essentially, you were quite sort of high up in the party at some stage, a member of the ANC. What do you think? I mean, all bets are on now. Is he going to resign in the next 7 hours? From what I heard just there, no. What do you think?
And I think we need to brace ourselves for that. I mean, the interview that he had just earlier on, he has told us that he's not going anywhere. So the seven-hour countdown that everyone is doing, I don't think you should expect a resignation letter from President Zuma, right? The only avenue now available to the entire country is the process that's going to unfold in Parliament tomorrow, that motion of no confidence.
Surely, that's going to lead to the dissolving of Parliament, and a dissolving of cabinet, and also an interim leader, the Speaker, Bale Kombete. But won't it that kind of stall Cyril Ramaphosa and his new broom sweeping through the economy?
No, I think they've made those calculations. They're aware that they are very clear in their minds that they want Cyril to step in as soon as possible, and that's what they're working towards. The interim measure is really a stopgap measure to make sure that they don't rush Cyril coming in. There's a process in Parliament. I mean, there has to be Parliament nominating Cyril to be the president, voting on it, and then being accepted as president. So they need to ensure that, in fact, what is making this appointment to be delayed of Cyril or the Cyril as president is the budget vote, which is happening on the 22nd, right?
If it happens on the 22nd.
It has to. We cannot afford to have a country that doesn't have a budget.
Yeah, that's true.
These markets, then there's going to be a problem if we don't have that budget passed on the 22nd. So they have to rush almost everything. If you are rushing, have Baleka in as interim president to be able to take you through that hurdle of the 22nd, and then quietly and systematically get Cyril in correctly.
So it's going to be quite a tough one. But I was thinking if it does go to a vote in Parliament tomorrow, it's going to be live on TV across the continent.
Oh, yes.
And the people who will be celebrating the hardest are going to be the opposition, because it's going to look like finally we've won, don't you think?
They have been at it for a long time. 8 motions of no confidence. I think they deserve to celebrate because they've tried it and they were stopped. And I think the ANC has to reflect, because they stopped it at all times when this motion came across. And today, they want that assistance from the opposition parties to get this motion through, right? And it's interesting that all along you have been protecting, defending this particular individual. And today you're saying to South Africans, not anytime, no more. We're not doing it. So,
I mean, James, let's actually bring this back to the markets right now, because, I mean, we did see the markets in the morning, in fact, joyful at the fact that the Hawks, a very strong institution, or perceived to be strong right now, made raids on the Gupta family. But we've also got inflation numbers that were released out of the US that I see also, you know, did better than expected, and there's jitters there. So how much of what is going on right now in the Rand and in the markets is as a result of what's going on outside of South Africa's politics right now?
It's a good question. A lot of it is obviously about local developments, but as I say, a lot of it is sort of guarded against overly optimistic results. And once again, the market has to pay attention to the global picture at the same time. So US inflation is an extremely important number that's overriding sort of global monetary policy, so it is being paid attention to, and took some of the optimism, you could say, out of the market performance for the currency and for the bond market when that came out higher than expected, and retraced a bit. But I still believe once we get through this political process, we'll see a further follow through. There's talk of, I mean, there's a few things to consider. Obviously, the nature of the motion of no confidence not being secret is important, and also the possible new ministers that are appointed into new portfolios. So I think the market is waiting optimistically to see how that plays out. And I mean, we could really see some positive follow through from that as well. So I think the huge development is local, but paying cautious attention to these global developments as well, Fifi.
Brenda, I mean, you're tuned into the political scene here. We'll be going live to Luthuli House later in the show. But what do you think in terms of cabinet? That's quite an interesting thing we've talked about. Who do you think is likely to stay for sure, and who do you think is likely to go?
I think the first person who should go is Msebenzi-Zwane.
The
right?
minerals
And I think the markets,
minister.
then the markets will be favorable to that and be happy that Msebenzi is out.
And also, don't forget, in Davos, Cyril Ramaphosa said he was going to intervene in the mining charter to sort out that
they
nonsense.
know that it's one of the key sectors of the economy.
Finance Minister?
Finance Minister.
I asked him, I said, in Davos, will you be there this time next year?
He's been saying the right things, so he possibly, you know, after what he said on CNN yesterday, he might be staying. But if I was the president, I would not have him as the Minister of Finance.
But would it be prudent, though, to actually have a cabinet reshuffle before we deliver the budget? I mean, how do you think the ratings agency would take such an abrupt move?
I think the rating agencies would favour such a move. I mean, the rating agencies keep saying we need to see action, not talk. That would be a firm commitment, and I believe just sort of looking at the new board that's in at Eskom, that's considered really positive. I think the rating agencies will favour that. I think key positions in the Ministry of Finance, state-owned companies, energy, if we get, and mining, for instance, mineral resources, if those positions get filled, I think we will survive the ratings agencies. I think that is a firm commitment to get some positive steps done in the economy.
That's another thing that Ramaphosa said in Switzerland. He said, no, I think when we meet them again in February, we're going to have a better rating than we've got now, which everyone can hope for. In terms of action, I mean, one thing we did ask him as well was, is he prepared to put a large number of his colleagues and comrades behind bars? I mean,
he has to. He has got no choice. Some of these things are in the courts. They're in with the NPA. You can't intervene, you know, on that. You just have to let the law take its course. So it has to happen. You might not like it, but it has to happen because it's already, their house is bolted, you know.
And even look this morning, I mean, it's a story we're covering later in the programme. We spoke to the Hawks about the raids.
The raids.
I mean, would that have happened in the previous 5 years? Everyone's been talking about it. Never.
It wouldn't have. And I think the shift that happened at Nasrec sort of propelled the other law enforcement agencies to say now things are changing. We can't sit back and not do what we're supposed to do. So it had a positive effect there in Nasrec, the change in leadership. And we're going to see results.
Brenda, I mean, one of the things the president has said is that, all right, I'm not defying the party rules. I just don't agree with the decision to be recalled because they're not telling me why.
Did we tell President Thabo Mbeki why we recalled him when we wanted him recalled? We never did. We still don't know the reasons why we removed Mbeki.
But are we not setting a bad precedent to say?
You said that president. You were the president at the time as Zuma. You led the charge. So why should it be different for you, right? He knows exactly the reasons. I doubted that Cyril would spend time with him and not give him a hint of some of the things that they're unhappy about. Come on.
And in 2008, when Thabo Mbeki was asked, he went virtually on the same day.
Exactly. It was immediate. So why is this thing of the reasons? Give us the reasons why you... And I would want to believe that the ANC would share that with him. He needs to know and be upfront. In fact, yesterday, Dr. Snuki Zikalala said it. Why they've decided to recall Zuma. He said it. So it means they discussed it in the NEC. He should know, right? He knows it.
I mean, James, for you, does it make a difference when Zuma goes? The market has already priced in that he will be leaving. Right. Does it make a difference whether he goes tomorrow or he goes, in a couple of weeks after that?
I think it does. Certainly the deadline of the budget is really important. To have this budget delivered, hopefully by, with the momentum behind it of perhaps the new ministers in the portfolios. But it's for us as investors about these ratings, because we must be cognizant clearly of Moody's downgrading us and that exiting of the World Government Bond Index. And besides, no one wants to be junk status or non-investment grade.
Sure.
Exactly.
It would be such a boost to us if we could even, I think it's a bit optimistic to expect a stable outlook, but certainly to remain investment grade, and perhaps even some of the other rating agencies might see the steps taken as positive. And this could really be a turning point. Let's not get carried away, but certainly the timing is really important for us from a ratings perspective.
Quick one, speculation that Zweli Mkhize could be the next finance minister. Market positive or not?
No.
I've heard I've heard Nkabisi Jonas also for finance minister. I believe that would be positive. I would like to hear the advocate's view on Zweli Mkhize.
She did say
no.
I'm
saying no because I think he's a doctor. He should be Minister of Health.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be
Jonas?
Nkabisi, yes, because of institutional memory. He was there. I think it will be a positive one for the markets. And I mean, he held himself in a good way in that ministry. So, yeah.
Let's hope we only have one every few years as finance minister instead of every few days.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That's where we're going to leave it with our studio guest right now. That is thanks to James Turp, who is the head of fixed income at ABSA Asset Management, and advocate Brenda Madumise.